This beer is getting out of control, but check it out. Some people may ask the question of why getting a Road King and not getting something such as a full bagger of something like that. And here's the thing: everything that is good about the Road King is essentially what is not good about a full bagger, right? So if you're trying to make a decision on which one to get, do you want to get a Road King or you want to get something like a Road Glide, a Street Glide, or something like that? Just keep in mind that everything that I'm going to say here for the Road King, it could potentially be the worst thing about a Road King. And at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you what is the best about the Road King, in my opinion, what is the best thing. So definitely share your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Okay, so let's talk about the Road King and why the Road King is a great motorcycle, in my opinion. And it's quite simple. The Road King is a bike that doesn't have all those extras, but still give you the ability to tour. It still give you the comforts of a touring motorcycle. So essentially, you don't have that big fairing in the front like a Road Glide, a Street Glide, which it could become heavier, right? It's going to prevent some of the air from hitting you and, deal with the whole wind mitigation and all that. But essentially, it's also heavier. It may be more intimidating for some of you guys to ride. I love my 2022 Road Glide, but it may be a little bit intimidated. It may be heavier when you go to slow maneuvers and things like that. The Road King kind of takes away from that. So the Road King is very light compared to some of the other motorcycles, right? So essentially the Road King is the same motorcycle. Keep that in mind. If you look at something like this, the difference between this and a Street Glide is just that this has no fairing in the front. The Street Glide has a fairing in the front. It's quite that simple. I mean, there's other things. You go for a special, you got a 114 and things like that. This one is a 107. A couple other things out there, but essentially, if you see a Road King, it's essentially Street Glide with no fairing. It's essentially a Road Glide with no fairing. If you think about the Ultra, it's essentially a Road Glide Ultra with no fairing and no trunk and no lowers, right? So essentially, it's the same bike, but obviously as you start adding up fairings, you start adding up trunks, you start adding up lowers and things like that, it's just going to be called something else. And don't be surprised because Harley does that with some of the soft tails as well. They change a couple parts and they call it something else. But why buying a Road King? Well, essentially because you're not going to have that fairing, right? You're not going to have that massive fairing in the front that you may not like. And again, you're not going to have a radio, right? But like I said, the best thing about the Road King could be the worst thing. If you're looking for a radio, that's the worst thing about the Road King. If you don't give a crap about the radio because you have a helmet and you're going to play that music through your phone and you want your bike to be a little bit lighter in weight and a little bit easier to maneuver, that's the best thing, right? Not having a radio, not having a fairing. So again, in my opinion, the Road King is great because of that. You don't have some of the stuff that the full bagger has, right? It's pretty much a stripped down full bagger to the lowest component, but the great thing about it is that you could add up things. But I love the Road King because of that, right? It's light in weight. It's easier for you to maneuver. It's easier for you to ride. You still have the touring frame that is very comfortable to ride. You still have things such as saddlebags, allows you to put your lunch when you go to work, allows you to keep some of your cold weather gear and things like that. And again, you don't have that massive motorcycle. And I'm going to give you a quick look here on this motorcycle. This is a 2017, by the way. You guys seen it here in the channel. But here's the best thing about the Road King, right? This is going to be the best thing. The reason why to get a Road King, if you're really looking into it, is that even though for the last 3-4 minutes I've been talking about not having a fairing, not having some of that stuff that makes it super heavy, you could add it up if you want. You could take it up if you want, right? So for example, right here, I got this backrest, which is fantastic. And I got that right there to put my luggage, right? I'm going to be going on a trip pretty soon. I'm going to be able to strap my luggage, my Nelson rig bag. You guys going to see that when I do a video. But again, look at that. You have the ability to do that. Again, you have the ability to put a trunk if you want. You could put it on, you could put it off. Some of the motorcycles, you could do that, like a Street Glide and things like that, obviously, but you don't have the ability to do it with your fairing. Right here, I have a windshield, and I'm going to tell you, this windshield provides excellent protection. Look how big this thing is. This thing provides such a good protection. I have taken this motorcycle going a 4 or 5 hour ride, and I tell you, on the highway, and it has been very, very comfortable. Not as comfortable as the Road Glide, but it has been very, very comfortable. So again, if you want to have your stripped down Road King, You don't need to have this windshield. You don't need to have that backrest right there. You could just run it straight naked. You know, you could be ripping out there. This bike has a lot of power. We have a stage 2, I believe, in this bike. I still have to open and check out what cams does it has, because I don't have any idea. But again, you have the ability to just build something very, very fast that allows you to have a lot of fun, and you still have that touring frame with saddlebags and all that, and you don't have to have that stuff, right? But if you're gonna go on a trip, guess what, guys? Put that windshield on, put that backrest on, put that trunk back on, and you have the ability to ride all over the United States with no issues. So in my opinion, that is the best thing about the Road King. The fact that you could have a stripped down bike that could rip, could be pretty fast, that you can take anywhere, but at the same time, if you want to travel out of state or whatever, or you want more comfort, you throw a windshield like I have right here, you throw a backrest, and you and your girl can have a lot of fun and really have a motorcycle that serves different purpose, right? Purpose for just going out there and having a blast fast, but at the same time, you could tour with this motorcycle with no issues at all. I'm telling you, this bike, it's pretty awesome. It is so awesome that I got 2 of them. I got the Road Glide full bagger, and then when I decided to buy a second bike, I went for the Road King, because you know what? I still wanted to have some of those comforts of having a touring bike, but at the same time, I wanted to have something that was lighter. So if you're looking for a Road King, highly recommend it. This is the second Road King that I own. I love this bike. Let me know what you think, and as always, God is in control.